You ready for this? Red Dead gets its PC redemption, the Halo studios have been rebranded, and the Ubisoft situation gets ridiculous. Yes, all the rees. Welcome back to the 128KB News. This is your quick bit of gaming news where we catch up on the week of gaming in this short news-like video. Yes, slogan.
Hurrah!
And what a week it's been, full of remasters, remakes, re-releases, and in non-re news, Xbox celebrating something. That is, being the second best-selling console in the UK. Not much of a reason to celebrate when you consider it's up against, well, the Nintendo Switch is that fighting for the silver medal, and the Nintendo Switch is what's coming on to be like 100 years old now. But in true Xbox fashion, they have celebrated being the second best console this month in the UK. So, yay for Xbox. Well, let's jump into the first remarkable story, yes, another and that is that Alien Isolation is getting a sequel. Oh, now this is amazing. One of the best games of the last 10 years is celebrating its 10th anniversary, and the devs put a lovely post out on Twitter thanking everyone for their support over the last 10 years. And also to confirm that Alien Isolation 2, or the sequel, or whatever it's going to be called, is in development. This is really exciting. It's truly one of the best kind of horror or horror sci-fi games of the last 10 years. And I think everyone can agree that it was an absolute must-piece, and still is, and people still enjoy it now. And to see a sequel for that is really exciting. I can't wait to see that, and I think we're all universally welcoming of that. Another awesome game to come back. But I want to move it along really quickly, and that's to Red Dead Redemption 1, and that is getting its PC release. The date has been confirmed as October the 29th, and boy, does this actually look like a really decent PC release. So Rockstar have announced that Red Dead Redemption 1 and the Undead Nightmare combination is coming to PC on October the 29th, so just a few short days away. It is being developed by the Double 11 studio and Rockstar in collaboration, which is really exciting to see. But specifically, the things I'm particularly excited about is what enhancements we're going to see for this PC release of Red Dead 1. It will have 4K native support up to 122Hz. Incredible. There'll be support for 21:9 and 32:9 super ultra wide display. Whoosh, for those ultra kind of cinematic moments. Yes, that's going to look really cool. We will, of course, get full mouse and keyboard support, obviously, and quite excitingly, the game will fully support DLSS 3.7, AMD's FSR 3.0 upscalers, and NVIDIA DLS frame generation. I can't say it properly, there's too many letters, I know, but what that means is that we're going to get gloriously upscaled and frame generated performance even on slightly lower spec hardware. I'm looking at you PC handhelds, and in particular things like the Asus ROG Ally. Very excited. Anyone who watches 128KB knows that we've been kind of deep diving into the PC handhelds recently, so this is going to look particularly great. From what we've seen as well, some screenshots and some early releases of it, things like enhanced draw distances are there for PC performance. It does look fantastic. And really, this is going to be the optimal way to play Red Dead Redemption 1. If it's been a long time since you've played it, or perhaps you've never played it at all and have always been on the edge, this is now the perfect time to jump into that game, and it is an absolutely amazing game. I'm really tempted to do a bit of a Red Dead marathon and go from Red Dead 2 and then into Red Dead 1, so it's the storyline obviously in chronology, because Red Dead 2 was the prequel. That'll be really exciting to do. I love both the games. I think Red Dead 2 is one of my favourite games of all time, and Red Dead 1 coming in a 4K super enhanced, super ultra wide cinematic version, that's going to be really exciting. But from really exciting kind of re-releases to super exciting remasters, and that is obviously Silent Hill 2 is here. We have seen the remaster. It has dropped and the reviews are here as well. And this has honestly surprised me, and I don't know why it surprised me. When it was first announced that they were remaking Silent Hill 2, I was obviously really excited. I know Andy was super excited. He's a massive Silent Hill fan. And then we started to see some of the first gameplay footage and first releases of it in the lead up to this release. And honestly, I felt a little underwhelmed. I think perhaps because of the success of Alan Wake 2, now bear with me on this, because of the success of Alan Wake 2, and then seeing the Silent Hill 2 remake, it kind of looked like a slightly low-rent version of it. You can shoot me down in the comments for that if you like. But I was a little bit underwhelmed by it. But anyway, the reviews are here, and now we've seen the proper detailed gameplay, and of course it is, by the time this video goes out, it's probably already out, and hands down, it's an absolute masterpiece. I can hold my hand up and say I was absolutely wrong about my first impressions of this game. It is truly a masterpiece. When we're looking at the reviews across the board, it's getting hundreds, 90s and high 80s up there. I think the Metacritic score is 87, the OpenCritic score is 86, which is ridiculously high, especially for a remake. IGN even quoted as saying it is a modernised masterpiece. And truly, seeing the footage from it, I've yet to jump into the game. It does look like a modernised masterpiece, and I was absolutely wrong about my first impressions.
Sorry.
And talking of being absolutely wrong, let's look at Halo. Yes, the Halo Studios 343 Industries is no more and has been, well, let's just say name-slapped as a brand new studio, Halo Studios. And as part of this very exciting rebranding, I don't think it's that exciting, but let's just pretend it is, they've shown us some of the first little snippets of what we should expect in the future Halo game. And the first thing is it's going to be entirely made in Unreal Engine 5. Now, I've got kind of mixed feelings about this. There's been a lot of action games made in the Unreal Engine recently, and it could feel like it's a copy and paste of all of the rest. So I'm hoping that this new Halo Studios is going above and beyond within that toolset to make a truly exceptional Halo game. But I will say the renders that they've shown from in-game do actually look pretty nice. In fact, I'll go as far to say as they look gorgeous. So that's exciting. But the Halo Studios have to go a long way to remove the stain of what is the post-Bungie era of Halos, because let's face it, they've been one slow disappointment after the next. And I think primarily that disappointment from us gamers is from the lacking single-player story modes. As multiplayer has taken over the action genre, the storylines in a lot of these games has suffered quite dramatically, and Halo is definitely fallen foul of that. So of course 343 Industries had to do a lot to kind of make up for this stain of bad Halos that's existed recently, and maybe rebranding the studios and coming into it with a fresh new energy and some shake-ups to the team is what's needed to turn the fortunes around of Halo. Because let's face it, Halo's a franchise that we all want to see, especially as people that have Xboxes. We all want to see do well. And seeing an exciting Halo being released is something I'm sure we can all rally around and support. And hopefully this rebranding, this shake-up of the team is exactly that. Only time will tell. But let's move it along to the more ridiculous stories of the week. And yes, that is of course Ubisoft, which should be their slogan.
Ubisoft, we're ridiculous.
And this absolutely insane story just won't go away. It is like a bad smell. I'm sorry, I didn't make it. They did, so I can't take the blame for this one. But it seems to be every week it just gets more ridiculous, more insane. And this week we've seen all the rumours of a Ubisoft takeover happening, and Ubisoft themselves have actually come out publicly to acknowledge it. So of course the potential takeover comes off the back of what can only be described as a tumultuous last few months and the last year. There's been kind of one failure after another, and Outlaws was probably, potentially anyway, the final nail in the coffin for this. We saw the stock price plummeting. We saw the next Assassin's Creed game being delayed by a whole 6 months. And then these rumours of a takeover happened. And of course, Ubisoft themselves have come out to acknowledge it. Now, the takeover is reportedly between the original founding members of the Guillemot, I don't know how you say it, the Guillemot family, however you say it, and Tencent. Now, this is where it gets potentially, I would say, worrying for gamers, because Tencent are a massive, huge, multinational entertainment giant, and primarily in mobile games. Now, if we think that a takeover is going to turn Ubisoft's fortunes around and back to those awesome single-player games that we used to in the past, and then in come Tencent with their kind of reliance on mobile games as their revenue driver, well, I think we can all be a little bit concerned about it. To give you a kind of fair idea, Tencent are already 10% shareholders in Ubisoft, but are also owners of Riot Games, Funcom, and Supercell, all of which are obviously massive in the mobile game space. They also have part ownership in about 20,000 other companies, but just of some of them off the top of my head is Remedy, From Software, and Epic Games. Ubisoft's acknowledgement of this potential takeover did come out, and they said that Ubisoft has noticed recent speculation regarding potential interests around the company, and Ubisoft regularly reviews all of its strategic options in interests of stakeholders and will inform the market if and when it is appropriate. Now, the rumour is that this takeover will remove Ubisoft from the stock market and from being a public company back to a private company, which is possibly a good thing. It means that they can be a bit more adventurous in what they do, although they'll be able to raise less revenue, or whatever. This sounds a bit businessy and boring now. But what I think is more alarming is that it feels like the vultures are circling, and Tencent obviously have a history of swooping in and taking up slightly vulnerable companies and pointing them direction of what is hyper commercially successful. And you can't blame them for it, but mobile games, multiplayer games, and the dreaded microtransactions is where it's at for them for generating revenue. If they go this way, I've got a lot of fear that Ubisoft may end up going the way of the other multiplayer publishers. But it doesn't stop there. The Ubisoft story gets more and more ridiculous the more I look into it. And to finish up this week, Ubisoft are being sued. It's insane. It must be mad to work at that place. So there is a huge class action lawsuit being opened up against Ubisoft for the use of tracking pixels and cookies and then selling that data to Facebook. Allegedly. I best say allegedly in case they turn around and start suing me, which is hyper possible considering all the bad things I say about them. So this class action lawsuit, it's not as boring as it sounds, and it's actually quite simple. The Meta platform, Facebook and Instagram and the like, have a tracking cookie software called Pixels, and web owners and hosters can install it on their website, and then it shares information with Facebook for advertisers. Now, what's happened allegedly here is that Pixel has been installed on Ubisoft Plus and the Ubisoft Store, and users of that and subscribers weren't notified of the case. And allegedly, their personal information and private information is now shared with Facebook's advertisers for them to access without the user having any knowledge of it whatsoever or option to opt out. This is what's been accused of them. In the accusation, the solicitors that are bringing it to Ubisoft have said the defendant does not disclose on the website that private information of users and personally identifying information would be captured by the Meta platform using the tracking pixels utilized by the defendant, and then transferred to Meta, thereby exposing the subscriber's personal information to any person of ordinary technical skill who received that data. It sounds like it could be a problem. It might just be a really minor thing. It might just be a little hiccup. Perhaps this kind of class action lawsuit about data leaking and data sharing is fairly routine for these legal companies. But the bigger picture is that it comes off the back of more and more bad news for Ubisoft. It's just one chaotic thing after another, and it just doesn't seem to go away. And I'm wondering at what point there'll be the straw that breaks Ubisoft's camel's back. We will see. I love that expression. Anyway, that about wraps it up for this week. There's some big stories, some small stories, and Xbox celebrating a silver medal because of the Switch being 20,000 years old by now. And when will the Switch 2 happen? Come on, guys.
I'm excited already.
Anyway, let me know what you guys think of this down in the comments below. If there's any news stories that you want to chime in on. Is Ubisoft mad, or am I just overreacting? Probably both. Let me know down in the comments below. And whilst you're down there digging around, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel because, well, I need your support, and the more that's here, the better. And then before you go anywhere, consider watching another video from us here at 128KB. We're a lovely bunch, and we love you being here. Perhaps this one, which is me and Andy doing some podcast about something that you might or might not be interested in. Now, that's an advert. So until the next time, I'll see you next time. Yep, look at this. Fingers.